Well, there was quite a few plays in the red zone. The first time we went down there, we had a power play that I feel like, we got the right look that we were looking for. We didn't execute that very well. And quite honestly, on the second one, on the third, pass there, it was a kind of a 50-50 ball from man to man. I thought the protection was good, but that's playing in the red zone. And then on the last one, they did a good job sort of matching it. If you watch the play, you'll see CJ kind of leap free in the flat, and we can just keep our feet, keep our eyes up. Maybe we see him there. And then as we got into the red zone a couple other times, we had a penalty. But quite honestly, there was one where we didn't motion a guy over. So to me, I thought schematically we were in decent shape. I'm critical of that. I just think we need to make sure that we're doing a better job as coaches emphasizing the details to make sure it's executed better. Because ultimately, it's always the coach's responsibility.
How will you handle the weekend?
Yeah, I don't know when's a good time, bad time, but today we'll practice today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Take Friday and Saturday off, and then come back in Sunday, have our practice, and do a normal game week. It's something that I think is important to make sure we still continue to stay on that schedule. We're going to work hard on fundamentals, on the areas that we need to get better at. We know the next 4 games are going to be a challenge. This will be our first conference game here. This will be our first road game, and 3 of the next 4 will be conference road games. So we have to prepare, to go on the road and play really, really good football. So we're going to look at the first 3 games, figure out the areas that we've done things well, where we need to get better at. Take a look at our self-scout tendencies that the opponents will be looking at on our end. And then I do think it's good, for these guys to get their legs back underneath them. August was a pretty physical month for us because we had to get ready in week 1. So it's really a combination of all those things. I love taking shots more than anybody, but it's not always there. Sometimes they're going to say, we're going to take away the shots. So when they're there, we'll be aggressive down the field, but that's why balance is so critical. Identifying what a defense is doing and then being able to take advantage of that. We're looking to establish that. We're looking to establish how to, win the line of scrimmage, get the ball to our players in space, stretch the field horizontally and vertically. And you can't just, break the huddle and look to launch it every play. It doesn't work that way. We've got good coaches across the country, and they know who some of our skill players are. So we work hard on trying to, find those situations and find creative ways to do that. I thought we did a decent job of that with one of the play designs, the one in particular to Jeremiah, where we brought Carnell in the backfield, the safety spun, so the middle field safety kind of found himself towards the line of scrimmage, tried to fight his way to get back. Brandon caught his attention, and we got behind him on that play. I thought the route to Carnell, was well executed, a really good route. We got the look we were looking for. So you don't always get that, and I think it's important for the quarterbacks to understand when we are trying to call a shot, if it's there, because there's a lot of other shots that were called that, they were in a shell, and you've got to check the ball down. And that's where, we'll keep calling shots. If Julian or if Lincoln's in there can say, hey, if it's there, we're going to take it. If not, we're going to take the underneath stuff. And we called the shot, and it was a check down to Bo Jackson for 11 yards. That's good football right there. So we do have the speed to stretch it vertically, and when we can do that and make good decisions and stay on schedule, then we've got a chance. So, but at the end of the day, the balance is what we're looking for. To identify what a defense is doing and then how we take advantage of that. We were just talking about that as an offensive staff. It doesn't take a veteran coach to recognize talent when you see it, and Bo has talent. And we're going to keep bringing him along. It's a long season, and so we're going to continue to give him the opportunities to prove that we can trust him with the ball in his hands. So far, he's done that. You can see his vision. You can see his ability to catch the ball. He's got a lot of different skills. We're going to keep bringing him along, and the more he can take, the more we're going to give him. But I also think there's, just like any other position, there's a way you bring guys along, and the number one one thing is ball security, taking care of that football. And then there's pass protection, and then there's, all those things, and he's checked these boxes. I mean, he's been doing a nice job. So, we're gonna need everybody in that room. I think they're all a little bit different, which is unique, so it's our job to put them in a situation to be successful. But he's gonna get plenty of carries. I think that was well done. On the 2 post rows, I thought both guys set on those angles, and he found the angle. But I think when you have such, fast guys, you have to be able to get that ball out there, and you gotta put a lot of height on it and let them adjust to it. And even the one to Jeremiah, like, when you put that ball in the air for him and he jumps up, he's so big and strong, he can kind of shield the defender with his body, which is what he did. I feel like the one to Carnell, he kind of dropped that one right in the basket. But a big part of it is your footwork, because when you're throwing it that far, think about when you're throwing the ball from 1 hash mark all the way to the red line. Let's just say it's 42 yards. We also take the distance of where it is on the field. So you may be throwing a 60-yard ball with a lot of air, and that takes everything you have. So you have to have your feet in the ground to throw those balls. And a big part of that is how your footwork is, where you're hitching, how you're hitching, and that certainly helps. And then the last part is you never want to be late. If you're late throwing the ball down the field, it's gonna be different. The other thing I would say too is when you're throwing a deep ball into the boundary as opposed to the field, they're 2 different throws, because the one in the boundary is a lot closer than the one in the field. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. We spend a lot of time talking about them, working them, and making sure that we're on point, because we always say around here, when you take your shots, we've got to hit them. And that separates, the success of an offense. We try to be north of 50-50 on deep balls, but when we take them, we got to hit them.
All right, Coach, thank you.